the number one player in America, Jackson Cantwell. You brought him to my attention before we went on live. What is the latest with the number one left tackle?
Yeah. If you're watching and you've hit the subscription, you liked and subscribed and hit the notification bell, you've probably already heard me talk about this because I recorded this a couple days ago on this here YouTube channel. So please go look at the entire video. Jackson Cantwell had previously tweeted that he was looking at 6 schools and evaluating things. He quoted his own tweet and said, might be closer to a decision than I thought. And then came out after that through Hayes Fawcett, the edit maker from On3 Sports, and said, cool, all right, this is what's up. 2 weeks from today, April the 30th, Jackson Cantwell is going to make his commitment to the team of his choice. And so that he is seeing the teams that he's really thinking of for his commitment being Miami, Georgia, O State, and Oregon. He has moved his Oregon official visit from the middle end of June up to NFL draft weekend, which is the weekend before his commitment ceremony. That is when Oregon is having their spring game, so he's going to be out there for that, and that's when his OV is going to be. It's interesting, there's a lot of different talk from a lot of different places. I know Miami has done their dollar in this recruitment. We've been, really pushing hard and at the forefront for Jackson Cantwell for a long time. The visit to Oregon is, it's one of he's not been to Oregon as many times as he's been to Miami, but going there for the official is really giving him a chance to see that place before he makes his decision. As I said in the other video, which I hope that you find on this channel, go and click that and find that. There's basically 2 ways to look at it. Number one, Jackson Cantwell is so far along his decision-making process with Miami in front that he went from not having a decision date to then clarifying the decision date, and that decision date being super early in comparison to what his visits were, because his official visit to Miami was scheduled for, May the 9th, and then you go from there. It's like, cool, I'm so close to a decision. We're going to go earlier than that because been to Miami 3 times in 7 months. He's all unofficial visits. He's been here twice in the last 3 months, even spending extended time with his entire family. You got the track thing with Amy Deem, the track coach, and his parents, all the things I've talked about on here. But all of this stuff is so strongly pulling me towards Miami. I'm comfortable setting a date, setting it early, and just so I'm sure. So I's are dotted and T's are crossed. Let's go take that Oregon official visit. Boom. That's the first way to look at it. I gave more of that same narrative again in this video. The other way is moving this up, think that I'm close to a decision, and despite even maybe not going there as much, I really think Oregon might be the one. So let's go there really quickly, and boom. That's another way you could look at it. Personally, I take the former look of Miami having done the thing. If you, on 247, I saw my boy Gabby Arrudia wrote the piece about Miami, Mirabal and Cristobal developing high-end offensive linemen from their time at Alabama and Oregon and Miami in terms of recruiting, developing, and then getting drafted, i.e. Penei Sewell for my Detroit Lions just signed the richest offensive line contract in the history of the National Football League, scouted, recruited, developed by Cristobal and Mirabal. So, hey, and there were many others in that article where you're looking at Cam Robinson, you're looking at, other guys like recruited, developed, went, starred in the league, got to that second contract, and got paid big 8 figures. In Penei Sewell's case, 9 figures. It's 6 years, 112 million or something like that. So, boom. But yeah, Miami has done everything, and they will continue recruiting him. It's not like, cool, this has come out, and Miami has not contacted Jackson Cantwell about, his recruitment and, trying to make everything shake. The top 4 teams, so Michigan and Missouri, have been dropped from consideration. His named 4 finalists, again, Miami, Oregon, Georgia, O State. Oregon people are one of their insiders has flip-flopped his stuff and is, saying, well, Oregon is not a contender, but then, well, if Cantwell goes to Miami, it's not because, it, it's really because of NIL, and Miami is, maybe adding track money in there, and, no team is really going to do that. So if Oregon doesn't, feels like a little copium, cap, cap. As I have these hats next to me, I was going to pick them up, but I don't need to. But yeah, Miami is squarely involved in the recruitment of the number one, player in America in Jackson Cantwell. This is a foundational player who, you have Jalen Rivers, who was here. I know he's not like a super premium tackle, but he's going to be drafted and play in the league for a while. You got, Francis Mawinoa next to Anes Cooper. You got, Markel Bell, who from the alumni dinner that they hold the night before the spring game is eye to eye with Bryant McKinney. So if anybody said, well, he's not really 6'9" and he's really not 350, go look at the picture, because Bryant McKinney is about the largest human I've ever seen. Well, football player. I played basketball. I went to basketball camp like Tim McCormick at the University of Michigan was 7'2", played for the Hawks. So I remember being, 5 years old looking up at Tim McCormick up in the trees. So I've seen bigger people, but like at tackle, like, dude, they're the same. That guy is coming from junior college, played a lot last year. He's about to be, I know when they were down for pro day, all 30 of these teams that came, they said, whoa, 32, sorry. They were like, hey, get his name and number and let's start digging on him now, right? So then Markel Bell goes to the draft next year, and who slides in at offensive tackle in 2026? Jackson Cantwell. In a perfect world. To Paulo's question on the screen, landing Cantwell would be the biggest recruiting win since Duke Johnson in 2012, maybe Duke Johnson, Tracy Howard. I know I was saying, man, you worked at Miramar. Bro, everybody wanted Tracy Howard. It was down to the wire. Like that was crazy. That was crazy. But yeah, I would say something like that, bro. Like it's been, I mean, if I look at the all-time recruits, Chantrell Henderson in 2010 was number one in America. Something like that. Something like a Chantrell Henderson or like a Duke Johnson in 2012. It was like everybody's All-American. And I mean, but he never really even visited anywhere but Miami. Yeah, something like that. I mean, even Justin Scott, bro. Like that was a huge one. But yeah, I think that there's that to be said. So we will see in this next 2 weeks where things go with Jackson Cantwell. Mark Bowman from Modern Day, the number one tight end, is also visiting soon, and Miami's still pushing things there. I know that we had a couple of his other Modern Day teammates, and Chris Henry Jr. and Tomohini Tupui, I believe is the kid's name, who have gone elsewhere. Tupui flipped from Oregon to USC, and Henry shut down his commitment or his recruitment to stick with Ohio State. But yeah, there will be other visits and things. I saw that Samorian Wingo, who's been asked about in the chat previously from St. Augustine, that wide receiver, is really, feeling Miami. He did an interview with Marcus Benjamin from the Rivals Miami website, and some other guys. So there will be plenty to come. But yeah, the big thing is Jackson Cantwell 2 weeks from today. I don't know what time his commitment is supposed to be. It would be serendipitous if it happened during this show and we kind of were dual screening it and got the immediate reaction. And trust and believe, I will be ready for that immediate reaction if and when it needs to happen.